All right, everyone see the screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make it a little bit smaller because it's going off the side a little bit.
Yeah, I can't see on the left. Oh, there you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. We were looking at vocabulary last week, and what we run into is we did these right here, this on the left. We got down to this part right here. This is parade, that's around, and that's to wrap around or gird yourself around. Okay. Now, Ganea, and our word generation comes from it. Ganea, our English word generation comes from it. So that's a generation. Okay. In duo, it's two words, compound word, in and duo. And so this is to clothe yourself. It's usually in the middle voice, and that would be to clothe yourself, be endued. And so that you find that several times in the New Testament. Okay. Sometimes it's written as induno. And so we'll have a new here. I will put one in. This is a form of it, a variant spelling of it right there. Does everyone see that? What I just did there?
Yeah.
That's the variant spelling of it. Okay. We'll take it out, but you do have a variant spelling. Eniatos is a year. Eniatos. And of course, it's a noun, it's a nominative, that's nominative case, and that's your genitive. There's your article, so it's a masculine noun. Comment or question? All right. And strepho, this part of the word right here, is a word by itself. It's to turn. All right. And epi is upon, so that makes it a compound word. Epistrepho is to turn upon or turn back or return. See, turn upon actually literally is what it means, but it means to turn back or return. Okay. So that's, and so you do see a compound word epistrepho, and there's some other prepositions that will attach to strepho to get some other words. Right. Now we have thesaurus. And so what we have here is our word thesaurus. Thesaurus, let me write the word up here. And I think I'm spelling it right. Thesaurus. I think that's how it's spelled in English. Thesaurus.
I think it's
That's
already
a
here.
treasury of words. There's a book called Thesaurus. Okay. That's treasure. Okay. And another variant of this word would be treasury. Okay. But it's spin off a different ending on it, but it'll be a variant of the word. Any questions?
My screen went black.
Your screen went black?
It went blank on me. Oh, okay, there. Okay, it's back. It's back.
Okay. Is and that's strength, might or power or ability, right? So that's another word for strength. Sais, that's a moth, like the moth would eat the clothing. And of course, the Jews and the older people, the rich people among the Israelites would have cedar houses. And of course, the cedar closet will keep moths from eating your woolen clothing. They won't eat, stuff made out of artificial materials, but they'll eat cotton and they eat wool pretty bad. Moths will get a hole in it, and so we have that sais. Probably, if you get into biology, you'll find this word, a variant of it, in for the definition of a moth. I'd have to look it up, but probably that's the word. They use a lot of Greek words in the definitions of in the biology. You've seen it a lot in biology. All right, scolios, and scoliosis is the curvature of the spine. Scolia would be the crooked or something that's crooked, right? And sunantao is to meet, I meet. Now, when it says with the dative, you remember that means it takes a dative object. Its direct object is in the dative case. That's what that means out there. Some words will take a dative direct object, like worship. You don't worship God, you give worship to God. That'd be dative. So worship is given to God. And so it'll be in the dative case. That's direct object will. Whose, and that's a hog. And whenever they have a sow, they don't have it in the book here, but you'll have, if you look this up in the lexicons, you'll find there'll be an eta here also. So let me drop one in just for, let you see what it's going to look like in the lexicon. You'll see that, which means it has two forms and it can be either masculine or feminine. And so that would be a sow. A sow is a female hog, okay? So you may see that in your lexicons that way. Any questions?
No questions.
Oops, I'm sorry, I messed up. I hit the wrong one. All right. Now, phos, and our word photography or photograph, see, graphe is to write, photos or phos is with light. So a photograph is a writing with light. That's what it originally, how they define photography that way. Okay, that's how they came up with it, the term photography. And so this is phos, this is light. Now let's go back up and look at one quick thing here. When we look at this, here's some of our words. Your third declension endings, and here's one of them. This is the word salt. And in this case here, you notice it has a sigma here. There's your stem. And you look at the genitive case, sometimes you have to look at the genitive case. So sometimes some of these words will lose a letter on the stem in the nominative form. So you look at the nominative and the genitive, and of course you drop the O's off, and that will give you the stem. There's your stem, okay, for it. Let's look down here. We got another word. Sometimes the nominative won't have anything. It'll have a sigma. Sometimes it won't have anything, any ending on it at all. So we looked at that a little bit last week. Like here, per is fire, and peros is, there's your genitive form. There's your genitive ending. And so right here, nukes and nuktos. Now see, so there's your os ending. So tell me what the stem is on this one. What four letters are on the stem? Someone help me. Nu, upsilon, kappa, tau. That's your stem. So now I'm going to highlight the stem. That's the stem. That which goes right before the os ending in the genitive case form. That's one you wouldn't look over here at this and get the stem from it. You couldn't get the stem from that. You'd have to look in the genitive form. So look at them. If the genitive form is different like it is here, go to the genitive and that'll be your stem for all the rest of the forms. Does that help? Anybody got a question?
I do have a question back on the vocabulary. So when you go back there, I'd like to ask it.
Okay. Any questions about this that we covered last week? Anybody? I put these on here. Now, when we get down to our translation, there was one mistake in one of the words. A letter was left out. Okay. We'll get down to that. I found it and I was looking at it and the letter was left out. So what is your question on the vocabulary, please?
Yes, iscus. There's other words that are similar in meaning, and I'd like to understand the difference here. You've got exousia, dunamis, kratos, and how's this word distinguished from those?
Well, do you have Thayer?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, Thayer lists them. And let me go over here. I may have it in this file here. Okay. So let's go back to iscus. It's about right here. All right. Now, synonyms see bia. All right. So right here, let's come over here. Thayer will tell you this. What I did in my copy of Thayer is I went ahead and put cross references in my Thayer. I just wrote down the pages where it discussed these words elsewhere, like it discussed it on 309 and 160 both. So on page 309, I wrote page 160, and then on 160, I put 309. So I cross-referenced it. That just for my purposes, right? So it's goose here, right here, and let's go to bia. Now here's the verb form of it right here from that as well. So you may look in the verb form. So let's go to bia. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. I think I've got it in the file. That's what I'm telling you. We'll just see what we can do with it. That's Arabia. Right here. Yes, it's right here. This is Thayer. Page 159 and 160 has the answer to your question there. All right. So you have Thayer. There's all of these words and they're contrasted as to what they mean. Does that help?
Yes, sir. Making a note right now.
Okay, trench as synonyms may also have it. Usually, if trench is in there, you can find they'll put a note with trench, a reference to trench in Thayer. So if Trench discusses it, and he may, I can't remember if he does, Thayer will tell you. So look under the word, and he'll list it as trench. So if you have trench
you,
synonyms, that's a good book to have too. All right, does that help?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, this is on page 59 of those notes that I sent you. Okay, all right. Any other questions? Anybody else? It doesn't hurt for us to get off on this because you can see how you can use the materials that I've sent you. So that kind of helps us there with it a little bit. Any other questions? All right. Nouns with the upsilon stems take the nu instead of an alpha for the accusative singular. So they take a nu instead of an alpha for the accusative singular endings. Nouns like sais and saitos, moth, the sigma endings have caused the ta, say, because right there, here is your stem. So what happened to the ta? And how do I know it's a stem? Let's go back through what I showed you a while ago. These last two endings in the genitive form, they'll be in your lexicon that way. You can look the letters before them. If they're not the same as these letters here, then one of the letters got changed or dropped off. So right here is your stem for that. That's your stem. And so now the ta got dropped in the nominative case. That's what they're telling you. Does that help? Any questions? Anybody got a question there? All right. Now, section 230 down here, what I've done is I've put it in a separate file and put spaces between it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that file. All I did is just cut and pasted it. There was down here one word down here that had right here. This had a sigma left out of it. This sigma right here, I believe right here was left out. And I was looking at it and I said, that word's not right. And so I looked and sure enough, the sigma had been left out. I overlooked it. Sorry about that. Okay. That might have confused you down there somewhere on that there, James. Okay, earlier. All right. Now, let's go over to my file. This will be the class assignment file. Here it is. All right. Unless there are questions. Are there any questions before I do this? Questions about this material? All right. Let's go back to this file then. And let's pick up someone. And why don't someone just read down to the cursor? And Chris, can you read down to the cursor for us?
Yes.
All right.
Ioannes, Elethin, Ace, Marturian.
All right. So
I translated that.
Go ahead.
John came to witness.
Okay, John came to bear testimony or witness. Everyone agree with that? Could be either way, to give testimony or witness. All right. This is what part of speech right here? Help me out.
Accusative.
Accusative case what?
Feminine, singular.
Noun?
Yes.
It's a noun. Yes, correct. Okay. So it's accusative case. So it's what's going to be born. He came to do. So he came for the purpose of bearing witness. Now, there may be an implied verb here in here between. Okay. A being verb, for example. John came, Ace, and then you have an direct object, but you don't have a verb here for it. Say, in order to bear witness. So probably it's a being verb, like from ame, to bring, to do, or to be a witness, to give, could be to give from ginomai. It's implied. Okay. Right. Very good. Good translation. Any questions about anybody? Okay. This is what can you parse it
Luke
for
is
me?
with me. Do you mind Luke? Oh, say that again. That's a verb, aorist, indicative, active, third singular.
That's correct. Of Erikomai?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Okay, let's go from right here down to here. Now, I've got to think about who all's in the class tonight. James?
Well, Luke is with me. Do you want him to, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Luke, can you do that for us? We'll get James for the next 4 or 5 words. Okay.
Down to where?
Sure.
Start right here
Okay.
on the screen, go down to here, and I'll leave the cursor where you want to end, okay?
Okay, thank you. Marcherain Paris to Thotos.
Very good. Good reading.
To witness concerning the light.
Very good. Good translation. I would agree. So Martirain is what? Part of speech. You translated correctly.
Infinitive.
It's a what tense infinitive?
Present.
That's correct. Present tense infinitive. All right. He came to bear witness concerning the light. Okay. To bear witness concerning the light. All right. Oh, very good. Any questions, anybody? Now that we start here, James, can you go down to where the cursor ends? James, have we lost you?
Sorry about that. Had it on mute.
Okay.
Bukain Ekenos Tophos. He was not the light. He was not that light.
Okay. Let's see. Now, was from this ain right here. Can you parse it for me?
That's from Amy. It's past tense. It's was.
Okay, is it aorist or imperfect? You said past tense. It'd have to be one of those, wouldn't it?
Yes. I'm not sure.
It's imperfect.
I would lean that direction.
Right. Not he was being ekinos is demonstrative pronoun. Remember, it's either this or that. Which one is it? Help us out, everybody.
That
That it's the distant one, isn't it?
utos would be near.
Hutos would be near, correct. So it's looking, if we're in this context, it's saying he's not the one here that right here that was the light, but he was this one over here, distant away. So it's distant in context. Okay, in the context, it's the distant one. And he was not being that light. He was not being that light. Okay. Any questions? So he gave witness concerning the light, and he was not that light. He's not this light. He's this light. He's the light over here farther away, a different light. Okay. Any questions about that? Obviously, we have the same word here that we have over here. So we just parsed it as present. I mean, as imperfect, and the third person singular imperfect of a me. So we have that here. So let's start right here. Who else is in the class? I've forgotten. Okay. And anybody else that was going to take a stab at it? Are we back to Chris again?
I'll try it.
I'll take it.
Go ahead. Who was that said they would try it?
Shane.
Shane. Okay, go ahead, Shane. Start right there and go down to here.
Jesus ein tophos to alathenon.
Okay.
Jesus was the light and truth. The truth was the light, the truth.
And so this is an adjective instead of a noun. So it'd be the true one.
The truthful white light.
Yeah, the truthful light or the true light. He was the light, the truth. Now notice here, the article is with both of them. Jesus was being, that's of course perfect. He was being the light. And then he says, for emphasis, with the article again, the true light, say the double article makes it more emphatic, emphasizing he was the true light. Now, John was a light, but Jesus was the true light. That's how I would interpret this context. Any help there? Any questions?
Yes. With the imperfect, generally speaking, it's ongoing action in past time.
Right. Jesus was being the true light, the light, the true one.
So he no longer is? Why wouldn't the present tense be used?
Well, in this context, it's just looking at the past whenever he was here upon the earth, I believe.
Okay. All right.
That's how I would interpret it. Okay. All right. Now, right here is this. I got a sneaky question for everybody, for the whole class. What I've highlighted, is that accusative or is that nominative case? Remember, this article, to, can be either accusative or nominative or accusative singular. So can the own ending. Huh.
I put it as a nominative.
Okay, I think I agree with you. Because I think here, me, here's two reasons I take it to be nominative. I believe you're dead right. Because me, and this ain is a derivative of me. Remember, it's from me. Me takes a nominative case direct object. Remember that?
Yes.
Your being verbs take a nominative case direct object. Me and Genomai are two of those that do that. Arco is also does, I believe. So, but right here, those two ones, Amy and Ginoma certainly do. So I would argue, even though informing could be nominative or accusative, by the structure of the sentence, it winds up having to be a predicate nominative, renaming the subject. Now, a predicate nominative with a double article is real emphatic. Does that make sense? It really makes it emphatic. Predicate nominative is for emphasis. So he's emphasizing Jesus as the true light. Okay. It's actually a predicate adjective, not a predicate nominative. Okay. Any comments there? Okay. I'll have to kind of watch the clock here. I'll just keep going. Okay. I get excited about this stuff. Okay. So we're here, and now I think we're back to Chris again. Chris, can you start? Let me show the cursor here and end up over here where the cursor is, if you would, please.
Yes. All right. Ethele sen agale sethe nai in to foti atu.
Okay.
I put the first word there is I wished or I desired, and to rejoice or goodness, virtue in the light of him.
Okay. That sounds pretty good to me. In the light of him, in his light. See, that's how we put it in English, but you were literal in Greek. Okay. All right. So this over here, notice your augment. And so we got a sigma here. So that's what tense?
I put that as aorist.
And it's got an augment, it's got a sigma, it's aorist. It's got to be, doesn't it? So that makes it first aorist. Okay. And it's from ethelo. Let me
Hello.
write it out here. Elo. Now, what this is a variant spelling. They have a variant spelling here. I'm sorry. Okay, hold on a minute. I messed up. Variant spelling of this. I'll just put it in symbol font. That right there. And we're used to seeing the word like this right here. That's how we're used to seeing it. It's pretty much like our English word, and so we got an accent mark here, but this is the same word as fellow. Same word as that right there, as fellow. Okay. So it is the same word. It's like our English word, possum. Oops, that's coming out in Greek. Okay, so let me do this. Let me put it back to regular font. POSSUM or OPOSSUM. Remember, those two words, both are the words for possum. And they're variant spellings of it. Any questions? Same situation here in the Greek. All right. There we are. So it's from Thello. We won't finish this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin off here a little bit and go over this word here was in our vocabulary right here. Let's go ahead and parse it, and then we'll come back and look at Thello in just a minute. Okay. So tell me about that word, somebody. What part of speech is that? When everybody talk at
I
once.
put it aorist passive infinitive
That's correct.
of agathosene.
Yeah. Okay, it's one of our vocabulary words, isn't it? So let's go back to our vocabulary, and it's this word right here. Okay. All right, that's the word we're looking at. That's our word. Okay. So it's an aorist infinitive. And in the light of him, in his light. Now I'm going to go back and I want to look at Thello just a little bit. And we'll go over to this file here. Go to theta. And we'll come down to Thello. I think we can get to it pretty quickly. There it is. Thello is one of the words for willing something, to wanting it to happen. And so it's a willing or a will. That's the noun form of it, one of the noun forms of it. And it's from this, derived from this word. That's probably where that epsilon comes in some of the variant spellings right there. And it's to be fond of something, okay? Right here, he tells it's the will that proceeds from inclination. I'm just inclined that way. That's the way I am. Now we have another word that is different from this, and it's boulomai. It's the more considered will. See, you've thought it out. Now here's the contrast between them according to Thayer. This is on page 286 of Thayer. Now in this file, it's on page 138. Just went down to find the page. So right here, let's look at it just a minute, because this becomes important. You'll find a passage or two where both of these words are used. Boulomai and Thello, the former seems to designate the will which follows deliberation. So boulomai follows deliberation. And the latter, Thello, is the will which follows inclination. All right. Now, in Matthew 1:19, you can find a very interesting situation. It explains something that we don't see in our English text, and that's Matthew 1:19. Now, I'm going to go over to Matthew 1:19 right quick. Just take a quick look at it. And I should have had my e-sword up already. I didn't have it. I'm sorry.